Welcome to Strategies for Using Study Island in Less than 12 Minutes. I'm Mrs. Blair. I will help you through this today. Once you get to www.studyisland.com, you'll be on the login page. We happen to be members of Study Island, so we can immediately go to the member login. Once you're there, you're going to click in the username and type your first name, your last name, no spaces, @Cutler. You'll click in the password section, and it is your student ID or lunch card ID, the first two letters of your first name, the first two letters of your last name. Click Submit to get in to Study Island. Once you're here, your name will appear in the upper left-hand corner and the date. Log out is on the right-hand side, which is important to know. You should always log out. And if you're only enrolled in one classroom, that will be listed right in the middle. If you have more than one, there'll be a list of them. On the left-hand side is the main menu. There's a message center, things about you, those are your attributes, any high scores you've gotten, classes that you're enrolled in if you're enrolled in more than one, and any reports that you need. After you go there, you can notice that in the middle we have the date that assignments are due on the left-hand side, and any blinking red arrows indicates that you have not been there yet. In the middle is the assignment itself, the title of it. Try to keep it simple. And on the right, whether it's been complete or not. If it's incomplete, it's red. If it's complete, it's green. Those are links in the middle to these specific assignments. And if there are any notes that you need to know about, they will be down at the bottom. So click on the reading pre-assessment to get in there. It comes in here. You can double check that you're in the reading pre-assessment, the day that it was assigned, the day that it's due. The instructions tell you how to start studying, how to actually go into the test in case you forget. So it's just hovering over it. It's very nice and easy. So we're going to click in the box. If we click in the box, it's telling us that. This is how you get into it. There are other things on this page like the grading key to show you if you're proficient, proficient with distinction, partially proficient, or substantially below proficient. It also talks about the different types of topics that you might go to. If you pass it, it's a colored in metal. If you need more work, you have the caution exclamation point. It tells you how many items there are. There are 30, and the passing score is 70. So once you click in that box, they're just telling you to make sure you know you have to take all these questions. It's a good idea to have enough time to answer all of the questions. Click OK. Once you get here, at least with the pre-test, you cannot do any lessons. You have to simply just take the test, so you want to make sure you're in test mode. There are other things you can do, but not within the pre-test. So this tells you that there are 30 questions, so you need enough time to answer 30 questions. You're going to click Next. There are different types of questions once you get into Study Island. Short answer questions happen to be just a question with a box, and of course I'm on my first of 30 questions, and I've gotten no score. It tells me how long I've been in here. But this one is a fill in the blank, and then in the box is the actual sentence that you need to fill in the blank for. Okay, so I suggest you read everything carefully and always track with your arrow, with your cursor. Track and track and track. Okay. So then you should look through all the words for the answers, making sure you get the correct spelling. You cannot click on the word. You must click on one of the letters in order to select the answer. So once you decide which one it is, you simply click on the letter next to that. And then once you click on it and it's correct, you will get a star and a green arrow that says next question will appear, and not until then will it appear. Not until you get it right. There are longer reading passages with multiple questions regarding the exact same passage, so be very careful to read carefully and understand the story. So right now we notice that we have a reading passage in the inside where you have to scroll down in order to see the whole thing. We have some menu bars, and this one in the upper right-hand corner I want to point out, where you can highlight items, but you can also zoom in and zoom out. The A with the green plus is to increase text size, and when you click on it, you notice the text gets bigger. And then you can keep clicking on it to go quite large, but you can also zoom out by clicking on the A with the red minus sign next to it, down below it. We'll also focus in on some of the highlighting items in a little bit. But those, bringing the text size larger and smaller, is very, very, very beneficial if you have a hard time reading. So you can also remove the scroll bar, which is a nice feature. And if you do, just make sure you know that, okay, you're going to have the question and everything still, but it will be on the whole screen. So you'll use the far right scroll bar to go down to the bottom, and notice that the question is there, and the four answer choices are there as well. I'm going to add the scroll bar back in because I like to see the question right there. I'm always thinking about the question because that's a strategy I like to use. Read the question first so I know what I'm looking for. So I track from left to right using my cursor. Again, I'm thinking the entire time about what is being asked in the question itself, but I'm also thinking about reading for understanding. Noting things that are underlined probably means that they are important items. If I want to highlight something that I find is important, I'm going to click and highlight with my cursor just like I would in any other document, then click on the color that I want, and that highlights it the color that I want. So if I find that I think something might be important, even later on, it will hold from one question to the next, which is a really nice feature. As I scroll down, I might find other things that I find important and want to highlight them with another color. So again, I highlight them by clicking and holding and dragging across whatever it is I want to highlight. And I click simply on the color of the highlighter up above in that menu of the color that I want to use as a highlighter. So here I'm going to highlight an important person in pink as opposed to yellow, which I did with some dates that I thought were important. And I want to know what's important about him. Again, I am constantly looking at the headings, noticing those text features. The bolded print tells me that I'm in a new section. I'm thinking about this as I'm reading because I really, really, really want to be a good reader, and I want to know what I'm doing. I want to know that I can go on to the next question and have some idea what's happening. So I'm going to read some more because we're talking about the same guy, and I'm going to highlight him the same color because he's the guy who I was reading about earlier, who I thought was important, has more information about him. I also note that in my reading I might have charts, graphs. This one happens to be a chart. So I notice that at the top of the column are headers, and I'm looking at what those headers mean. I know that they're the names of presidents, talking about the dates that they lived, dates that they were in office. So now I can go on to my question, and I can read my question, and then I can select what I think is the best answer. I may need to narrow it down to a couple of choices. I may be able to get rid of a couple, and then I need to think about it, again clicking on the letter, not the words in the answer, but the letter next to the words, next to the answer. So once I choose my answer and I click on it, a star will appear if I get it correct, and I can go on to the next question. Again, see, it's the same exact question, same exact reading passage, but different questions. So now, interestingly enough, I highlighted the information that's in question number 2. Sorry, number 3, but number 2 of this longer reading passage. So now I need to go back and decide, what is this all about? What does this mean? Remember, down below I also have a chart if I needed to check it. I'm going to look and see what do I think is the best answer. When I select the answer, if it's correct, I get the star, and I can move on. Obviously, another question, same exact reading passage. Remember that I did highlight some information about this important artist. So I'm going to decide why, what was the main idea of finding the right artist. I click, I get the wrong answer. I try to find the best one, it's wrong. I cannot move on, my green arrow has not appeared. Once I get a green arrow, then I may move on to the next question. When I get to the last question, it will be very important for you to take some time and think about what to do next. So if I answer and I move on, the screen I get tells me what my score is, and I have to get at least a 70%. If I get my little award, that's nice, it tells me how long it took me. Okay? And then I should go through my missed questions. It's a good idea. They give you the exact same question again. They might mix up the answers. They may not. They just want you to go through, verify that you do understand what is the correct answer. So again, clicking on the letter next to the answer, check it, go on to the next question, and I'm done. Tells me if I've mastered stuff, tells me what my percentage is. I can go back to the main menu then, and I'll be able to see what my percent was. I need to have a percent of 70% in order to pass. Okay, and then I can go back to my class, and I could do another assignment if I needed to. It just tells me that I'm complete. I usually only do one assignment a day. So be sure to log out in the upper right-hand corner, and then you are ready to come in and do this at school. See you tomorrow.